two cats, so I think they dictate a lot of my routine. So first thing I do when I wake up is I feed them, and then I'll like either make coffee or tea or something like that. I play the piano, so I try and start practicing usually after I have my caffeine fix. I like do the dishes before I go to bed. I drink some fiber, and then I light like an incense before I go to bed. So I'm a pretty routine-driven person. I like having the structure there to start and end my day.
I have a dog, and he has a routine, so I have to follow his routine or he gets really anxious. So I have to give him his breakfast, and then I have to take him to the park and walk around and come back, and we play with ice cubes. I throw them, he chases them and eats them every day.
Every morning it's get up and immediately take the dog outside. Yeah, I'm pretty lost when I don't have a dog in my house. Because they thrive on routine. Right, buddy?
My morning routine is get ready to go to work every day because I work at Pennsylvania Hospital right around the corner and stuff like that. So, I like to get up, get my routine together, and, be able to help the patients at the hospital. At night, I be tired and stuff like that. So, I got my little shows. I watch TV, my little sports and stuff like that. I might go a little happy hour once in a blue moon. Sometimes when I got things in my mind, I just sit and vent and stuff like that. Try to get myself better at things of the nature because I always want to get better in life and stuff like that. I can't be the same all the time. So you do the same thing all the time, you won't get the same results. So I got to think out the box.
I check my emails, my text messages. I clean everything up so there's no red dot on my phone. Get all my ducks in a row. I really like having my ducks in a row so that I feel like I can continue on into my day and it doesn't feel like clouded. That's really important to me.
I'm a photographer, and I create, I try to do one book a year of my photography. So I'll go through it and re-edit them every night to certain music. So each book has a theme. So I edit to the music at night. That's my nightly routine. I usually do it for so long that I usually just fall asleep.
Hello. Today we are talking about ritual, and I am here with Ana Ramos and Jose Ortez Pagan. They are the co-creators of Colectiva Clara, which is a botanica and cultural asset project specializing in Caribbean healing products, traditions, and rituals. They host workshops and events and produce small batches of environmentally friendly healing goods to help people strengthen their relationships with prayer and ritual, and to lift up, remember, and share their ancestral spiritual knowledge and technologies. Ana, Jose, thank you for being here.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
So, I have a couple questions for you. Um, about healing rituals themselves. Healing rituals can sometimes be very intimate and private. So, what motivated you to start Colectiva Clara and take these practices that you inherited from your cultures um, and share them with a broader community?
hmm Yeah, Colectiva Clara started back in around 2015. At that point in my life, I had pretty much lost my faith, lost my way in life. And I actually had a consultation with Jose's grandmother, Doña Benita, who was a curandera, like a folk community healer. And in that consultation, she told me to go to the Botanica and buy a prayer candle and say the prayer that was in the back of the candle. And so I did that. And after that moment, after, having the candle and reading it thoroughly, I noticed that it had carcinogenics in it, like most candles do. And so I was inspired to learn how to make my own soy wax prayer candles. And I started off doing that, and then I asked Jose to make the artwork for the candles because he's a visual artist,
That's right.
and that's how we started. But we've expanded since then.
Right. I mean, and also for me, when I migrated, right, this thing started making a lot of sense for me as a way to, find my way back home, but also strengthen myself as, I was transitioning to another place that was new for me. And, it also, started with research. We started familiarizing ourselves with, plants, with recipes that my grandma had, given us, but also recipes that we have found along the way. As many of these things actually are things that we personally had been using for a while, and they were helping us grow and keep moving forward. So that's how we started imagining Colectiva Clara.
Awesome. So your families are from Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. So these are both Caribbean countries with some shared traditions, but very distinctive customs and cultures. But you two share a vision and a mission with your collective. So I'm wondering what specific aspects of your cultural practices do you each bring to your work?
Mm-hmm. Do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. This is like Edouard Glissant, the thinker from Martinique, said, the Caribbean is a mix of everything, and that's why we have so many solutions. In my case, it had been around my life since I grew up, through my grandmother, through the lady Doña Gloria that used to take care of me while I was, in pre-kinder, and had this, massive altar. So I think, from my perspective, I bring this set of very specific plants, like anamu that we use a lot, you know, uh, things like poleo or epazote that are plants that grow in the Caribbean, but that also at the same time have a long history of where each of them, came from. I come from a family that, practices like Mesa Blanca spiritism, but at the same time, there's a lot of aspects from shamanism, both coming from Puerto Rico, but also other places in the Caribbean as well that we think are really necessary and really important to share right now. How
Mm-hmm.
about you, Anna?
Yeah, I really love this question because it made me think about like what specific parts of my culture we bring into Colectiva Clara. Um, I think to start off from both of our cultures, for us, it's very important to work to decolonize our spirituality. We still hold some, I would say, Catholic traditions,
Right.
specifically the mysticism, but also, like Jose was mentioning, unraveling and finding where the shamanic practices that our families, and I would say specifically in the Dominican Republic, my family had been practicing all along that I didn't see as shamanic practices back then. So that's one thing. Definitely decolonizing is very important.
Yeah.
And also, I saw this post on social media that was a woman in the Dominican Republic saying that
the aretos that we have held traditionally are the indigenous folks, the indigenous communities in the Caribbean, they didn't go away, they were transformed post-colonization. And so that got me thinking a lot about the way that my family and my people gather behind the house in, wooden huts still, and there's music being played. So areitos are gatherings held by the indigenous people of the Caribbean to share folklore, to share music, to share healing ceremonies. And we really wanted to bring that aspect of this transformed areito and way of gathering into Colectiva Clara and into Philadelphia as a way to reclaim those parts of ourselves.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
You speak a lot about the colonial impacts of your cultures on your cultures and indigenous practices and the mix of cultures that come together to inform your practices. I think a lot of people associate these healing products that you sell with personal healing practices, but your collective is focused not just on personal healing, but on collective healing and social justice. So what do you think that traditional practices and rituals can teach us about how to take on this present political moment?
Yeah, I love this question.
Yep.
For me, I think that it is very important for us to go back to our ancestors and the way, I'm talking way, way back, like in the way in which our peoples have been gathering from wherever they're from, whatever part of the world they're from. I think that when we go back and we see how our elders, our ancestors have been in community together and what tools, how were they communicating or using the plants that were around them available to them to fortify their physical body and also their spirits. I think in moments like the ones that we're living now in 2025, having those roots, like being very rooted to the earth, is what helps to fortify us and continue being activists or being active or aware for the long term. I really think that we have to take care of our bodies and our spirits, and that our ancestral practices is what connects us to the earth that we are on and connects us to the rest of humanity.
Yeah, and I think to add to that, this knowledge is recently being able to share. It has and it still is in many places of taboo. And I think in the last 20 years is when, a lot of the thinkers and practitioners have been, allowing us to share this information and many other people, right? And in that way, I see it as one of the most beautiful ways of blossoming in resistance, right? It is, I think, what allows us to continue. It's what took us to share this knowledge with other people, It allows me to migrate and, be able to sustain my practice and sustain my own health in the context of not even having access to a health system, right? So then this becomes, that strategy and that force for us to keep resisting and keep growing in community as well.
Absolutely. Well, thank you both so much for all of your wisdom that you've shared with us today and for coming into the studio. And thank you, Anna and Jose, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
My family goes down the Jersey Shore every year. My family's very traditional, and we do holidays kind of the same way every year. Every Thanksgiving, we have a pie parade, which is just like my aunts basically like prancing around with pies that they made. And I think they find a lot of comfort in the predictability of this. So maybe that's ingrained in me a little bit as well from my family. They really anchor themselves on these traditions, and it's what keeps them together, and like those memories are really important to them. So,
Well, with my community, I'm on a nonprofit for the park across the street, so we meet regularly. And with my family, both my boys live in Philadelphia, so we get together a lot. With my one son, who's 10-minute bike ride away, we usually do happy hours. I don't know, we do a lot of stuff together, my sons. We really get together often.
I just basically go with the flow. I'm really into my sports, my Eagles and my Sixers and my Phillies and stuff like that. So that's my main focus. And I'm a huge WWE fan, so I love that. I don't care what nobody say. I love that. I don't like to be too I'm trying to word, like overzealous and stuff like that. I don't want to say like, oh yes, we're going to the Super Bowl. I like to take like one game at a time, build it up so I don't have to get my heart broken and stuff, things like that. Because because I'm a diehard Eagles fan. Go Birds.
I think eating together is like the biggest importance to me when it comes to friends and family. Yeah, and it definitely like gives me energy and it makes me feel really good.
Seeing what friends are available and eating with them is kind of the most important thing. You know, it's one thing to meet up with people and have like bar friends, but it's also important to like do things during the day and actually do constructive things as far as like talk about art or anything else that's going on instead of like talking to Doug at the bar. You know, it's funny for a little bit, but you don't really remember. Doug doesn't really have much to say. No offense to Doug's, but
Rosh Hashanah is the Jewish New Year. The most iconic symbol of Rosh Hashanah is the shofar. The shofar is the horn of an animal, usually a ram's horn, that is sounded off annually as a wake-up call to the Jewish community. The shofar is a reminder that the new year is here and the high holiday season has begun. Every Jewish community blows the shofar, but not every community's shofar sounds the same.
That there are three distinct sounds to the shofar. In most communities, you will hear following sounds. The straight sound of the tekiyah, and then shevarim. The three separate sounds, followed by the teruah. That would be the teruah sound. Whereas in the Spanish and Portuguese and some Iraqi communities, the following sounds are made. For the tekiyah, that remains unchanged, but then you will see variation with the shebarim and the teruah. Unlike the previous sounds, these sounds do not have any pauses or breaks in between them. Instead, they are like a wailing wave sound.
In Judaism, this is a time of year for reflection, repentance, and renewal. But Rosh Hashanah is a celebratory holiday, and with it comes certain culinary traditions.
The challah is a three-strand braided loaf. During Rosh Hashanah, it's round, as we saw before, because it represents the cyclical nature of life. Today is the first day of 5786. Apples and honey symbolizes the sweetness of a new year. And then to add some fun, we're going to make an apple and honey brie sandwich on the round challah bread. Get some honey. The challah may fall apart a little bit. That's fine. You add some apple. And then you can cut some brie. But you take the brie and then you put it on top. You can do an open face like a tartine, or you can close it like a sandwich, and then you eat it.
Another Rosh Hashanah ritual is called Tashlich. During Tashlich, Jews will gather by a body of water, recite a prayer, and symbolically shake the edges of their clothing to represent the casting away of sins and shortcomings. Some people will toss breadcrumbs or written notes into the water as a physical representation of this casting away. This ritual is an opportunity for people to reflect on their actions and let go of what they wish to leave behind in the previous year.
You know, I like my predictability, but I'd like to think that I have some flexibility in there as well. I think abrupt change in your schedule can be good as well. Help you integrate something new, maybe. But yeah, I don't think anything bad will happen.
when I do travel, I still wake up at 3:30. Like that's the thing that's kind of weird is like regardless of where I go, like if I go to Nashville, I'm waking up at 2:30 because they're an hour behind. So my body's like 100% routined and waking up super early.
Jeremy, hey.
Devin, my man, what's up?
Nothing much. I was just about to practice a bit.
Well, you can take the day off from practicing. The band holds a potluck dinner together once a month. Joel and I are doing it tonight. You're one of us now, so we better see you there.
Yeah, I can make time for it. Might have to move a couple things around.
Great. Don't worry about making anything for dinner. We've already got that covered. See, our old guitarist Jackie used to make these homemade chocolate chip cookies. We really miss them. You think you can make some?
I don't know. I'm no cake boss.
Come on, man. How hard can it be? I'm sending you Jackie's recipe right now. Just follow exactly what he says to do, and you'll be fine.
I don't want to ruin your night.
You will if you show up with no cookies.
All right.
Great. Excited to have you, man. See you.
Hey, Devin, come on in.
So I turned around, and then I hear him say, "Man, I'd really like to bang on those drums." And then I said, "Those aren't hi-hats, that's my wife!"
That's a classic, Joel. It rips every time.
Speaking of rips, how about we rip open those cookies you brought, Devin?
Oh, good idea. I'll clear out the table.
You know, I really appreciate you doing this for us.
It's no problem. Cookies aren't hard to make.
These ones are special, though. I don't know how he did it, but they're the best I've ever had. He was always so secretive about his methods.
How'd you get the recipe to me then?
It was left to us in his will.
His will? Jeremy told me that he moved.
He did. To a better place.
I'm so sorry. How'd he die?
His whole house burned down. This recipe is all we have left of him. But you're keeping him alive now.
Excuse me.
You know, I don't even like chocolate chip cookies. But the way that Jackie did them, I don't want another cookie ever again.
Yeah, I've been buying all these store-bought brands since. Nothing compares to Jackie's handmade cookies, you know? Yeah.
They were so yummy with milk, too.
Oh, I've got some in the fridge. Let me get it. Whoa. I've got that same Tupperware.
No way. It can't be the exact same.
Potato, potato. Joel, the milk's expired. Do you still want any?
Nah, I think I'll pass.
All right, I'll put it in the trash.
Wait!
It goes in the recycling.
Oh yeah, thanks. Put it by the sink. Well, here we are, boys.
Wait. Jackie was a God-fearing man. He'd want us to say grace.
You're so right. Would you like to lead?
It'd be an honor. Dear Jackie, we honor your legacy today with these handmade, painstakingly done, tenderly loved cookies done by our friend Devin. And if a single ingredient is done wrong, may God strike him down.
What?
Amen.
Amen.
That's not how saying grace works.
What the hell? Let's eat.
This is the best cookie I've ever had.
What?
These are even better than Jackie's.
It is?
Yeah, what'd you put in them?
My secret ingredient. Friendship.
A magician never reveals his secrets.
Welcome to the family, Devin.